not comply. Words to live by from the Daily Mojo.
If you had your phone in the crypt for eternity, you want to listen to something, I've got something for you to listen to. One very good podcast. Have you guys been watching? I'm sure you have. You've heard about all the hubbub over Sound of Freedom over the last few weeks, the movie that recently came out?
Strangely, yes. And we can't figure out why people are dissing it so bad. It's bizarre.
I mean, I can figure out because there's a bunch of pedophiles everywhere, but otherwise, have you seen it?
No, I've not seen it yet. Beth Enot has seen it. Ron, have you seen it?
No, I haven't gone yet.
Oh, he
might go this week.
I have.
No.
You should go. You should go see it. It's amazing for the wrong reasons, but you should go see it. It's really good. Anyway, the main story, and you guys might. I mean, Brad, you might remember. Tim Ballard is the story is about Tim Ballard. You know, the guy who basically he was a Department of Homeland Security agent, and he quit his job to basically pursue trying to find trafficked children. He made it his life's goal, and that's the impetus of the story. I remember him when we worked at the other place, Brad. I don't know if you remember. He came through a couple of times when this was not long after he founded Operation Underground Railroad, the organization that essentially, I guess, funds the missions that go out globally to find trafficked children and capture traffickers. He's got 2 podcasts out. I'm going to tell you about one of them. It's called the Tim Ballard Podcast, and he just launched it pretty much around the same time the movie came out, because he's got another podcast that's part of his organization, Operation Underground Railroad. But this one is called the Tim Ballard Podcast, and he has it's new. They've only got 2 episodes out so far, but the first 2 episodes break down a lot of what happened in the movie and tells you what's like actually real and what was a little bit more Hollywood, and breaks down a lot of what the movie's about. And he's a guy I just really admire, because the guy basically dedicated his life to, I think, one of the most noble pursuits that you could possibly do is saving children. And it's funny that so much of the mainstream media is just taking a big dump, calling the movie like a QAnon fringe and like over what someone actually said that it's that the child trafficking is not as bad. They're overstating the seriousness of the situation. And as a father of 2 small children, you know, I'm sure many parents feel this way, but I don't think you can talk about this issue enough. So,
well, right.
The more
and
you
if
bring
it's
attention to it,
if it's quote unquote not as bad, okay, let's say it's only half as many as what they're saying. That's still bad. You know, it's like,
yeah, and, you know, I can see where the QAnon factor comes in, because there's this whole, I feel like and who knows if it's true or not, I don't know, but there's a movement or a section of people or a group of people that essentially are saying all of the global leaders, the people who basically run the world and the most wealthy in the world and the celebs are all in a part of a satanic pedophile ring that just preys on children. Now, who knows? I don't know if that's true or not. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I'm not saying it is. But you cannot deny the fact there is a huge problem with pedophilia and people that want to prey on children. Whether you think it's the leaders of the world and the elite or just average everyday sickos, either way, it's a problem that needs to be addressed no matter what. So I can't imagine how anyone would think it's a bad thing to bring, shed light on this type of problem. But anyway, Tim Ballard is somebody I really respect the guy. He was about to retire, he was about to have a pension. He gave it all up to go and do this, and it's his podcast is I would support anything he does, and this is a new podcast that he's got out talking to different. He's gonna have different guests on talking about. It's ultimately going to be about the work he does, But the first 2, if you're interested about the movie and you watch the movie and you want to know what part of it was real, what part of it wasn't, how much of it, and how they put it together and all that, the first 2 episodes dive into the movie. It's called the Tim Ballard Podcast.
Very cool. And, a fellow friend of ours, Jason Buttrill, who's still over there at the other place, he went on one of these missions. I don't know if you ever heard him talk about the story of going down there and having and being part of the mission and what he did. I want to get him on the program here. He's off gallivanting across the country on his motorcycle right now, being a toxic male. So when he gets done being a toxic male, I'm going to have him tell his story. But it was a trip when he was, what he had to do posing as somebody who would, be buying essentially the kid and being in the middle of that and knowing everybody's armed and being in the middle of that operation, how weird and strange it was. And so, yeah, I know this stuff is happening as well. And I don't understand why, again, well, I say I don't understand. You're right. They don't want to admit that this is as big a widespread problem as it is around the world.
That, and I think like normal, average everyday people, it's hard to talk about this stuff. It's hard to acknowledge that this happens. It's not easy to. God bless any of like Tim and Jason, any of these guys that go in and any law enforcement that's involved in this, because you have to you have to expose yourself to probably the most evil people on the planet. I mean, you have to be a real just low life piece of garbage to want to harm children and prey on children. So these guys expose themselves to catching these people and all the online child porn that you have to see and they basically have to consume it and catalog it and see it to capture these guys. And so anybody that does this, God bless them. It's not an easy thing to do. And I'm sure what it does to them is obviously not easy either. So God bless anybody that's involved in this. The movie's not graphic anyway. The movie, it talks about this, but it's not graphic. It's not like, but there's a lot of exposition that you can use your imagination to see where this goes. And that was it was hard. Like I cried a couple times throughout the movie just because I'm a dad and I just kept picturing my own kids, So anybody that does this for a living, God bless them.
Have you seen the picture up there? It's almost become iconic at this point of what was happening during the Pride Parade and the naked dudes and the one leaning up against I think it was like a rock wall and the kids walking in front of him. Have you seen that picture?
I think so. Yeah. I've seen all those Pride Parades have now kids involved in them. So I've seen a few of them.
I mean, it's truly a bizarre photo and how that is not pedophilia when you look. I mean, we call a lot of things pedophilia that aren't pedophilia. Jeffrey Epstein, technically what he did, well, the ones we know about, the teenagers, the 17, 18-year-olds, technically that's not pedophilia. What this is, this picture, it's pedophilia. It's the definition of it. And it's strange that there's not more outrage about that or that anybody could possibly defend it. And that's the way I feel about, the reaction to the movie, how anybody can come out and say, oh, it's not it's a QAnon thing. No, it's really happening. I don't know how they even try to fit that into the same category as QAnon. But again, I guess like you said,
absolutely. And this is where the conspiracy stuff gets in, because you think how could you possibly not want, in California, they just, first they turned down a bill that would have made pedophiles go to prison for life. They vetoed it, but then so many people freaked out that they reintroduced it. And now I think they're going to pass it. So you got to wonder, the people that are in charge and are passing laws like this that are making it easier then your brain starts to think is it a conspiracy? Are the people in charge a bunch of sick pedophiles? You just gotta I don't know. Your head will explode.
The world is a strange place these days. There is no doubt about it. All right, so it's as you said, there's a couple of different podcasts that Tim has, but this is the Tim Ballard podcast, and a couple of episodes out. We'll tweet the link out there. What do you have on the after you go and get your racist masculine toxic workout in, what are you doing after that? What's fun this weekend?
What's fun this weekend? My niece's birthday's tomorrow. We're going to the American Girl store in Manhattan. The kids are going to get their hair done along with their dolls. This I'm very excited about, as you can tell by the tone of my voice. And then I think there's like some pool stuff involved, maybe, depending on how the weather holds. I might do some masculine toxic training again. You know who else is a racist is my doctor, because he's the one who said, hey, you need to get your ass in shape because you're in your 40s now and your blood pressure is not looking too good. And I mean, maybe there's a ring of doctors out. All these doctors telling people to lose weight and go work out. I mean,
Right.
who knows how deep this infiltration is, Brad?
I know.
Deep.
It's crazy. Well, we'll expect a full report next week. All right. Be safe out there. And if you find any pyramids, you let us know, because I know how you people like to dig in the sand. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Cal and his podcast of the week. It is the Tim Ballard Podcast.
The First Amendment lives here. Watch and listen at thedailymojo.com.